Hello, and welcome to another episode of Canadianish Comedians. I'm Julie Betts.
And I'm Laura Toogood.
Yay. Today we have Janelle Niles, one of Canada's fastest rising Indigenous comedians. Yay. Welcome, Janelle.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
So I got to ask you the first question out of the gate. How do you feel about being the best dressed comedian on the planet?
Well, not today, but I'm only second to Kenny Robinson. Kenny is the best dressed Canadian comedian. I am not worthy.
Yes.
I would say he inspired the suits. However, all Black comedians actually inspired my suits, from the Richard Pryor to all the kings of comedy. They inspired my suits. So I try to emulate that when I'm on stage.
Nice.
Well, you do a great job. You look fabulous. Every video that we've seen of you, every picture, you're just so well dressed.
Well, thank you.
Lovely.
I take pride in my suits, and sometimes I'll have a white guy come up to me and he'll look me up and down when I'm wearing my suit, and he'll be like, "Smart." And I'm like, "Hey, I gotcha." I had another guy in Toronto. He was walking past us, and I was just wearing a dress shirt and some jeans. And he's like, "Is it Halloween?" And the girls beside me, they're like, "Why did he say that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's because I'm dressed like a white guy."
Oh, that's awesome.
It's not the first time I've heard it, and it's not going to be the last.
Oh my goodness. So funny. So funny.
They stole my land, so I stole their clothes.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So you're kind of new to the stand-up scene. You really haven't been doing it that long, but it's funny that we've heard about you so quickly and you're doing so much. So can you share with us a little bit about your journey?
For sure. I'm actually a green stand-up comedian. I'm only 4 years in. It's big four. I remember always wanting to be a comedian since I was like 14 years old. That's when I first got my big pop at an assembly because I yelled something out and the crowd went crazy.
Oh. Reset. It's all good.
Reset. That's
it's
okay.
all good.
Yes, and it was something I'm not going to repeat here because I was just being an edgelord kid, right?
Yeah.
But it got a huge pop, and I was like, finally, I got that laugh I always wanted, because I was always trying to be the class clown in school and middle school, high school, like elementary, but no one would ever laugh at what I was saying. One, maybe my jokes weren't funny, or two, they have an inherent bias to believe that women aren't funny, and I feel like I'm trying to overcome that hurdle. But once I got that big laugh, I'm like, okay, this is going to be my dream. But unfortunately, it took me until I was 31, 32 years old to actually get the backbone I needed to become a stand-up comic.
That's amazing. It is a journey, right? And it's something that you really do. Like, kudos to you for pushing yourself.
Thank you.
To do that, because at any age, we didn't even start doing stand-up until I was in my 50s, and Laura was always in her 50s. And even at that age, with like tons of life experience and everything else, it was like, why are we doing this? What's going on here?
Because it's a goal, it's a dream. It's like I've held it back so long. And I think being a security guard for 7 years, talking to thousands of people a day, working in hospitals and businesses and events, I realized that I can talk to people and I can make them laugh, because as a security guard, one of those things that non-violent crisis intervention, I was all like, make them laugh, set the tone, and that's what I did every day.
So smart. Yeah. So smart.
But you must have had some support in your the idea of you becoming a comic. Like, you have an identical. No, is she identical twin?
Yes, sister? My identical twin. Yes, Shalene.
Was she like your biggest fan, or?
Always. I've always could make my twin sister laugh. That's something I take pride in, because as much as nobody would laugh at my twin, would get my jokes. She was on the same vein, if you know what I'm saying. My twin sister has always been a big supporter of my dreams, my goals, whatever be, and same to her. Right
Beautiful.
now, she is a mom. We have a 5 month little nephew there, and
Oh,
Oh,
that's her dream.
congratulations,
Thanks.
Auntie.
Yes,
congrats.
that's her dream to be a mom, and at 35 years old, she finally did it, and I'm so
Oh,
happy for her.
Perfect.
And
Yeah.
we're both accomplishing our dreams simultaneously, so we're trying to egg each other on.
Nice.
that's great.
Nice.
That's so good. Um, so one of the biggest things that you do is you've started the Got Land tour, hence the sign. And what prompted you to do that? What kind of pushed you in that direction, and where do you see it going?
So Gotland comedy actually started the same year I started comedy, surprisingly. They say they make a joke, they roast young comedians, and they're not getting stage time, so they're going to create their own open mic. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, that's exactly
Yes.
what I'm going to do. So for the first 3 months into comedy, so I started comedy January 2019 at Swizzles here in Ottawa.
Oh,
And by April, I've already decided to have my own open mic called Comedy at Eddie's. And my twin sister Jolene actually was the manager of Eddie's Diner at the time. And she's
nice.
like, we're going to get you a weekly show. But here's the funny thing about that. She's like, oh, I'm going to have your own show here at Eddie's Diner. You're going to do 45 minutes every week. I'm like, whoa. I'm like,
My eyes just went, whoa.
yeah, because she doesn't know, right? She doesn't
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
how comedy works, especially when you're very new, very green. Like I barely had
Yes.
3 minutes at 3 months in, let
Yeah.
alone 45. So I had to explain to her how open mics work, and I brought her to a bunch of shows, and we both kind of like hashed out how we were going to play it. And then by September, I realized, being in the comedy scene for about 9 months, that there's only like a couple Indigenous
Mm.
comedians, and we're barely ever on the same show. It was always like that token Indian, if you will.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but there's so many Indigenous comedians, because I would, any Indigenous person that's a comic, I'd be like, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what we do. We have our communities, right? So it's just like, hey, how are you doing? Where are you from? That's basically our first questions.
Mhm.
And I brought them all together. So instead of us just three, Jen Hayward, Don Kelly, and Janelle Niles,
Yeah.
it turned into like 7 of us.
Oh,
So
Nice.
awesome.
aspiring comedians with Gotland Indigenous Comedy Show, we do not gatekeep their level of comediness.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
whether you're just starting out or you're a pro, we all invite Indigenous comedians to Gotland. So
So
Amazing.
nice.
September 10th, I believe. Yeah, September 10th, we had Gotland comedy at Eddie's Diner, and we didn't know it was going to blow up. We thought it was just going to be another like themed show, because I
Hmm.
had a lot of theme shows, because that's what I'm like, give the audience something different, right?
Yeah.
And uh, we had 65 people in a space only 45 people could be.
Wow.
Don't don't tell the fire marshal.
No.
Oh, well, I had him on speed dial, the Ottawa Fire Marshal, so I'll just make sure I don't call him, right?
So we had APTN there, Aboriginal People's Television
That's
Network. They
awesome.
were taking video. They were
Cool.
taking pictures. It was filmed. It was filled wall to wall. And as soon as the show was over, people kept coming up to me. When's the next one? When's the next one?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I
Fantastic.
guess I got to make another one. And then it just kind of snowballed from there.
That's
That's
fantastic.
awesome.
And everybody, like all these comedians are from Ottawa, right?
Most of them.
Like
The
pretty
ones
much.
the in Ontario, I think I have 15 comedians
Hmm.
on my roster. However, we have comedians, about 40 comedians across Turtle Island, so we have them everywhere.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
So speaking of Turtle Island, like that would encompass the States as well as Canada. So do you find that there's a big difference in the comedy between the Americans and the Canadians?
Yes, and
Canadians are much funnier, right? No,
yes,
sorry, go
yes, and
ahead.
yes. No, no, no. Yes and yes. I've only done comedy in Wisconsin and Seattle so far. Oh, and
Okay.
Akwesasne, North New York. So I've only done those three. And what I did notice is I have to change some of my wording. They don't know what a loblaws is.
Oh.
You know, and however, they in the States are more eager to laugh.
Oh,
They're
good.
smarter than Canadians give them credit. You know what I'm
Oh.
saying? And
Really?
yep, and
I'm
the
shocked.
indigenous crowds, I know, and the indigenous crowds are very very welcoming, and
Oh,
they
nice.
understand that we don't really have borders, that we're all one people, and they don't
Hmm.
disparage or gatekeep the communities. They allow us to come in and do comedy for them, regardless
Mhm.
of if we're First Nation and they're um, Native American, and
Hmm.
in their respects.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder how it would, like, do you find that, have you had any of them come up to Canada? Any of the Native American comedians?
Not yet, not with Got Land. However, I do see some American Indigenous comedians coming up, like Tonya Jo Hall. She's actually, I think, in Sault Ste. Marie, I think
Okay.
that is, or just Northern Ontario, and she's going
Yeah.
to be doing a set with another comedian there named Rob. I can't remember his last name, but they come on their own and they do their own thing, because Gotland, we're just a comedy show. We're just a
Hmm.
show that books Indigenous comedians. We're not an agent. We're not a talent agency.
Yeah.
We're just a show that is on the road, and everybody on Gotland is their own contractor, their own, because we're all comedians. We're all
Yeah.
independents.
Yeah.
Mhm.
However, when Gotland is around, all Indigenous comedians are invited to perform.
It's good because it's opening that door that maybe wouldn't be as accessible,
Yes.
right? And that's a little bit, I know we talk about it every time we do the podcast, but that's a little bit about why we started doing Canadianish comedians, because we wanted to open doors and give a little bit more exposure to people who may not have had an easy time getting into the comedy big boy club. And yeah.
Oh, I could tell you, I could talk your ear off about that all day. But I did want to mention that Canadian niche comedians is actually hilarious, because the Anishinaabe call themselves niche, so it's
Oh,
like Canadian niche
niche.
comedians.
We have
How
here
appropriate!
we hear
Awesome.
here in Georgina we have Niche Radio
There you
that
go.
Yeah,
comes from the island. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
that's awesome.
that's amazing. But I'm Mi'kmaq, so I actually got told not to call myself Nish. However,
Oh,
it's just in my vernacular, because I've been
yeah,
hanging around the Anishinaabe here in Ontario so long. It's just now
Mhm.
part
Mhm.
of my vocabulary. So it's just like Nish comedy. We're all Nish. We're
that's
all
great.
Sassy.
Hey,
So
Yeah.
if it slips, it slips, right?
exactly. Um, on backtracking a little bit, it is hard for an Indigenous and Black woman in comedy here, because you kind of get typecast, you kind of get put in a
Mhm.
box. I remember one of the comedy club owners kind of insinuated that I only could work native rooms, and I was like, no,
Oh,
I want to be able to work
rude.
every room. Like, would you tell that to
Yeah.
a Black comedian doing Black comedy? He only can do Black rooms? No, you wouldn't. So why
Yeah.
are you trying to do that? They're like, because nobody knows your struggle. I'm like, well, they need to learn. They need to
Thanks.
get on board. Did they
Yeah.
not take grade 9 history? Apparently they skipped that class. Like,
Well, there's a bit of a fail there because
yeah.
I know
Yes.
that I'm learning more now at this
Mhm.
age
Mhm.
than we ever got taught. And I thought Americans were bad at relaying history to their children, but it's just as bad here, really.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure. And that's why I like to thank the Idle No More movement, because they gave us permission from our own
Mhm.
people to be able to speak up and tell it like it is.
Yeah.
And I blame them for me.
Stop. You're not a blame. You're a blessing, girl.
Oh,
You are
thank
a
you. I'm just playing. I'm
blessing.
just playing. I'm all
Yeah.
about that self-deprecating humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how I get them the audiences to feel comfortable with me, because I
Yes,
am so
sure.
much to look at. They're like, "What is this?" And then if I can take the piss out of myself, then
Yeah.
they can feel a little bit more comfortable, as much as I take the piss out of them.
That's good.
It's a
That's,
little give and take, on the
yeah.
stage.
So just going back a little bit to Eddie's Diner,
Sure.
is that where Inconvenient was filmed? And
Yes.
and
Yeah.
tell us about Janelle Niles, Inconvenient, that whole project and why it was so important for you.
Citizen Minutes picked us up with hot docs for Janelle Niles Inconvenient. Kelly approached me after seeing my magazine article in Reader's Digest in 2020 October edition, and she's like, "This is an amazing story. We need
Yeah.
more." So she's like, "Oh, I've only seen you on line on social media. I'd love to meet up and help you, help bring your story to life. So my story is basically of the hurdles I had to jump through to have a successful show in the nation's capital in a government town where they took a module that day. Why my jokes aren't funny.
Oh, get out.
Yes. So because Gotland was was birthed in Eddie's Diner, we decided
Mhm.
to have it there. And if you saw the documentary, we Mike Bombay actually has a joke about that,
Yeah.
about having a documentary filmed in a diner. It's this documentary is needed because we need to also inspire more
Mhm.
BIPOC youth to be able to express themselves. Because as much as
Absolutely.
a lot of us, like me, are very open and brash, there's some people who are a lot more introverted and almost hesitant to get out there and express themselves. So if I can help anyone,
Mhm.
especially an aspiring Indigenous comedian, to be able to voice their truth, that's what I want to do, and I do that with sharing my story. And I always say with Gotland, it's not just about Janelle Niles, even though Janelle Niles is Gotland. It's about all Indigenous comedians being able to showcase their talent to their communities and the rest of
Mhm.
Turtle Island. And it's not just for Indigenous peoples, it's for everybody. So I always welcome everyone to come see our shows, whether you're an ally, you're Indigenous, or even a racist, because you laugh the
Yeah.
loudest and I can pick you out the crowd.
Oh, stop. Stop.
I was going
That's
somewhere
awesome.
with
So you mentioned like inspiring younger or new comedians, because we're not going to be ageist and say, everybody has to be younger, because obviously
that.
we were not young. Um, what piece of advice, if there was one piece of advice that you could give somebody that was starting out that you wish that you had had when you started out, what would it be? And I know that's a hard question
No,
to
no,
just like
I
pop
have it.
off.
Yeah, no worries. I have it. Understand your fight or flight mechanism before you try to go on stage and talk through it, because that is what you're doing. You're talking through your fight or flight mechanism. You don't understand nerves until you're trying to say
Yeah.
words through them. And once you can overcome your nerves, you can almost overcome anything.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
great advice. So what did you do to make that happen for you then?
Oh, birth by fire, trial and error.
Oh, right.
I had to
Right.
learn the hard way. I didn't take no comedy class. I just went up there and just went,
Yeah.
yeah. I had to learn the hard way, and
Yeah.
I still get nervous up there. I did Kenny Robinson's Nubian show in November
Mm,
and
awesome.
bombed so bad because I had a set of nerves I didn't know I had. It was something different. It was something new
Yeah.
that I haven't overcome yet. And just recently, last week, I showed up at the Nubian show just to watch with my friend Lena, who's also on Gotland.
Mhm.
And Kenny comes up to me and is like, "Do you want 10 minutes?" I was like, part of me is all like, redemption.
Get
Ah!
out.
I was like,
Yay.
"Kenny, I'll do 8." He's like, "Perfect." I'm like,
Aw,
exactly. And then he gave me 8. And even though I didn't do as well or big as I hoped to do, I did a lot better than I did last
the
time. And
last
then
time.
next time I'm on the Nubian show, I'm going to bring the house down because
Good for
those
you.
nerves were still there. I could
Yeah.
feel them in my hand. And I was like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep talking. I know these jokes. I'm boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom. I'm just going to keep going. But I still felt those nerves. So as much as they were at 100% nerves the first time I bombed,
Yeah.
I guess they were maybe at like 20% because they were still there.
Oh,
I
that's
could
good
still feel them.
though.
I'm very I'm self-aware about my body
Yeah.
now, especially
Yeah.
when you're on stage. And I'll rewatch comedy specials that I've never haven't seen in a while, as with a comedian's eye, and
Yes.
I can dissect. I'm like, oh, that movement was planned, that body language, that the way they hold themselves, all that
Yeah.
is just they're so present. And
Yes.
it's like that's what I need to transfer onto stage. I need to be present because you can get lost in the sauce up there, especially if your nerves
Hmm.
are going.
So it's
Oh,
almost like being choreographed.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's an act. It's a bit.
it
It has
is.
to be. It has to be. You have to have flow, right?
Yeah.
Absolute.
Yeah, yeah. You go and you watch other people perform.
All the
What really makes you laugh?
time. Audacity.
Oh,
I love Audacity. Audacity is my bread and butter, and cringe. I love cringe and I love Audacity. People are like, "Why are you laughing at that? That was really dark. That was really bad." Like, I'm
no.
like, because I can't believe they said it. I'm like, the balls.
Yeah.
I laugh at Audacity. Just because I'm laughing doesn't mean my political views are being
Yeah.
swayed. It's just like, what? Like, I had someone say something very, very, very dark to me. And I'm going to repeat it here because it's a part of my act. I laughed the first time he said it to me, but I made sure to put it in my act so he can never forget he did. Never forget he said it to me. And it was just right after I cut my hair off. And this comedian comes up to me and is like, "Oh, you look like the ghost of the residential school kids."
Oh,
Yeah. I'm like, "How dare you? I look like Kim Jong-un if he has a sex change."
stop.
Yeah.
There you go. See? Down and
Yeah,
up.
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's it.
That's good. That's perfect.
Oh
That's
That's
my
it.
God.
perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I tackle tough topics with my comedy.
Yeah.
I make sure that if I'm going to bring that, create that tension or that uncomfortableness, to relieve it, and
Mhm.
also not shedding light, but calling attention to the stuff that is still plaguing us as people.
Yeah,
So that's a two-parter, if you will.
absolutely.
There's almost every joke I have has like a little like hidden message, whether you take it or leave it.
Mhm.
If I don't leave you laughing, I at least leave you with a conversation.
Yeah. And it's so important that we're continuing to have those conversations. And it's great that, like, in a subtle but not subtle way, you put that stuff out in front of people and they have no choice but to react in whatever way. And
I,
any reaction is a good reaction, right?
yes, I want that reaction. I don't
Yeah.
even know what that reaction is going to be once
Yeah.
I say, like, some people will be like, "Jesus Christ." And now if I hear that in the audience, I'm like, it's not going to be the first time he's risen tonight. And I'm just kidding.
Oh, good for you.
Right? I'm like, because
Yeah.
people will say it multiple times, like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
them trying to laugh at the Audacity. And I want
Yes.
them to laugh at the holy, what did that bitch say?
Yeah.
I love
But
it.
you know that it's a great comedy show when you leave and, like, days later you kind of go, "Oh man, remember when she said that?" Like, and then it just kind of hits you again.
Or
And I feel
why did
like,
she say that? Or what was
yeah,
the, yeah, exactly.
like, what was the hidden meaning behind that? Because now I'm thinking about it a little bit more and I'm like, wow, wow, like that really, okay. You know.
In my documentary, I have a joke saying, "This isn't alcohol. This is fresh tap water from Clear Lake First Nation."
Oh, nice.
And that gets people thinking. They're like, "Oh yeah,
Yep.
there's a water crisis
Oh
happening."
yeah.
Oh yeah. I get the people coming up to me. "Oh, I didn't know that." That happens a lot. And I'm
Hmm.
like, "Oh,
Mhm.
good. Now you know."
But
Or now you can look it up, and now you can
yeah,
research on your own if it inspires you to learn. And that's all I want to do, is inspire people to uh, like have like, some people say, "I didn't come here to think. I came here to drink and have a good time." Like, some comedy club owners are like, you got to stop it on that white guilt shit. I don't want my
no,
audience is feeling uncomfortable. But I'm just like, this is something that Canada needs right now. I'm a
absolutely.
comedian they've never seen before. I'm saying stuff that's never been said, like every
Yeah.
single comedian should be.
Yeah.
Still jokes.
And the audience has the choice. They
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
I've never walked a person yet, and hopefully I never do. But
Oh,
I'm eccentric yet captivating, so they can't keep their eyes off me.
yeah.
They're like, "What's the next thing she's about to say?" And I want to keep them on the edge of their seats.
That's great. Seriously. And it's, like you said, so important nowadays, because I feel that even though we are getting more of that awareness, especially since the first mass graves were found
Mhm.
of the children, it's like, of the Indigenous children, I should
Yeah.
say. I feel that we're being exposed to so much more. Like, I'm 56 and
Mhm.
I honestly, like, I hate to say it, but I knew very little bit about what's happened to our Native people in Canada, like from the beginning, and just everything that's happening. And your comedy is enlightening, whether
Thank
people
you.
want it or not. I appreciate it because you do bring that awareness that I didn't have before.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Canada likes to believe that they're all sanctimonious, a good
Yeah.
Christian nation, can't do no wrong.
Yeah.
However, they also have skeletons in their closet, and it will humble the country to realize
Yes.
that there is this seedy underbelly that they don't want to
Yeah.
recognize, because even in the States, it's really hard to combat like power to the form, truth to power, because they're so patriotic.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, this is America, you're against freedom. And then Canada had their own freedom convoy coming in Ottawa,
Yeah.
driving us crazy for 3.5 weeks. And then they're all like, we're Canadian, but they're also trying to fly native flags and have
Yeah.
mock fake Indigenous ceremonies, like mocking us. Basically, they're like, I was like, that's what some Americans do. They
Yeah.
make their own powwows and pretending
Mm-hmm.
to be Indigenous, banging drums, not knowing songs, and just mocking us. But they're like, oh, we're not mocking you. We're helping. Like we're what is that word when people say that they're helping to promote the culture? We're giving
Yeah.
you representation. Like, no, you're giving us the wrong representation. And every time we speak up against it, we're just like, oh, look at this bitter activist. Oh, they
Mm.
just want to complain. They just want to. But as much as I was asked if I was an activist, I say I just bring it to the stage. I want to make
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I don't view you as an activist at all. Like,
No.
I think you enlighten people, yes, but
What is it? Oh, accidental activist. How's
Yes,
that?
accidental activist. Sorry, I'm
Right?
sweating like a whore in church.
Oh
I'm
no.
sorry. I'm just getting on my
Oh,
nerves.
you've met my sister? No. Oh, sorry. Stop.
Ole, ole, she got jokes. She got
Oh
jokes.
yeah, I may have bruises later, but for now it's the jokes.
And by the way, you do not look 56. I was gonna guess like at least like
Thank you.
40, at least. Like, sorry, most at 40.
Oh, like thank you. I loved you before. I love you even more now.
You got great skin, baby.
Thank you. It's all
Yes.
smoke and mirrors. It's
Oh,
all
that's
smoke and
it.
mirrors.
I got this. This is actually a 3D printed logo.
oh,
My
Very
roommate
cool.
nice.
made for me, and the logo
Nice.
was created by Trina Wilson in Ottawa. I told her I would like a logo for Got Land, and she's like, "Okay, what colors do you want it?" Da, da, da. The 3D printer couldn't. We didn't have a brown, but this is supposed to be a brown hand.
No. Right.
But I love it, and I also printed out one for
Beautiful.
Yuck Yucks as well, because I love Yuck Yucks. Yuck Yucks
Oh,
is something that I hope to not I don't want to be signed with them. I want to own them one day.
oh,
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to
well,
revamp Yuck Yucks into what it should be,
like
and I try to emulate what I want out of the comedy scene with Got Land.
nice.
Hence why I'm
Yeah.
no one's agent. I have no agency over over anyone, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody's exclusive to me. I just want to. I'm going to change that per se with Yuck Yucks, because Yuck Yucks has their own agency. However,
Mm-hmm.
there's some business practices in there that need to be changed, and comedians need to know that they have some agency over their own careers,
Yes.
if I will, if if yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into a tangent about that, but
No.
hopefully in the next 20 years, I am one of the owners of Yuck Yucks, if not the Ottawa location.
Listen, Mark is definitely pushing it. So who knows? It might be less than 20 years, my friend.
Ah, I need that money though. Ole, it's gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
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 Exactly, but I love Yuck Yucks. I like Absolute Comedy as well,
Yes.
and Laugh Lounge here in Ottawa. I love all the comedy clubs. I actually love
Nice.
everything comedians are doing. I'm a big fan of comedy. I'm out 5 to 6 nights a week at comedy clubs, whether I'm on them or
Wow.
not. I love comedy. I love to laugh. It's like it's a great workout. And it really boosts that dopamine and serotonin up.
Yes.
Right? I don't need to do
Absolutely.
heroin. I just go out and laugh. That's what
Yep.
I need.
Yep.
And who would have thought that there's healing with laughter. There's like so much healing with
Absolutely.
laughter. It's actually part of our eighth sacred teaching, unofficial humor.
Ah,
That's what we call
yeah.
it, yeah, because Indigenous people all across Turtle Island, we joke, we make fun, we tease,
Yeah.
and everyone, especially on my res, Sipekne'katik on Indian Brook, they are so funny. They're all comedians in their own right, especially my grandfather. He He's very dirty.
Okay.
And he's a very dark. He has a very dark sense of humor. He's
Yeah.
very dirty. Stubby is his name, his nickname. And
Aw.
he was unfortunately part of the residential school.
Oh.
He wasn't the priest. He was in the residential school.
Yeah.
Stop.
And then my father was part of the Indian day schools. So the
Wow.
intergenerational trauma flows downhill, if you will. It's like still in
Hmm.
my blood. It's still in my DNA. And I'm like,
Oh,
and with the black side of my family, Dorothy Marsman, my great grandmother, she won the Centennial Medal in Nova Scotia for her part in the civil rights movement
wow.
in Nova Scotia for Black
Wow.
and Indigenous. So it's
That's
like
awesome.
there's so much in my family. It's like I was born political. I was born
Hmm.
to speak my mind and
On a
say,
mission. Yeah.
yes, I was
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I was
great.
born this way.
Yeah.
Yes, if you didn't want us to be born this way, maybe Canada could have treated us a little bit better. That's all I'm
You
saying.
think, you think.
Yeah.
Okay, just throwing this out there though, you should do a documentary yourself on your family and how funny Indigenous people are and how humor helps and heals. And I would definitely watch it.
Oh, for sure. That's actually in the works. I know Kelly wants
Oh,
to do an expanded one.
Oh,
So
cool.
maybe
nice.
I can throw that to her. It's just getting the grants, getting the money, getting
Yeah.
the movement going, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope I can. What is that called? I want to make sure that the legacy of my family isn't lost with time. So
Hmm.
having
No.
something like that would be great because my family on both sides needs mentors, needs
Yeah.
inspiration as well,
Yeah.
especially on our res, because the youth of today, a lot of them are lost, whether it's
No.
spiritually or just not being able to find their way.
Hmm.
And when I go do workshops and stuff like that, that's why we're trying to help the youth because they
Yeah.
need to know that even though they're in a tumultuous upbringing or just downtrodden, that that's only temporary. And
Hmm.
we want to know that there's people who came from that came out. So sorry, I didn't mean to be about bummer there.
No, no,
No.
that's
It's
so
important. It
important.
is
there's
Yeah.
important, Janelle.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a method to my madness,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
Like people, so they see me, they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you?" No, no, no. I'm like, "Yeah, I got my own ways." And I find George Carlin did it
Yeah.
back then in his own way. He changed people's minds. He like ripped through this kind of like this stunted ideology of religious, controllism. I don't even
Hmm.
know if that's a word, but it's he changed people's minds, and I'm like, oh, that's sometimes that's what comedians do. We're only just comedians are what only second to the king. Jesters only
Yeah.
second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
And he
quote.
continues to too.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
100%. He inspires me all the time. But what were you going to say, Laura?
No, that's what I was going
Oh,
to
oh,
say.
Yeah.
okay. My bad. Yes, he still continues to inspire. I have some of his books here too, and reading them is all like, whoo! It's like hearing it in his voice, in his like
Yeah.
cadence, and I'm like, oh my goodness gracious! It's like he's sitting right in front of me talking.
Amazing. Well, one day somebody will look back and go, that Janelle Niles, what a little ball of wisdom and grace and all the things that she did for the community. People are already saying that. So imagine
Aw.
10, 15 years from now.
Can I get that in writing?
Sure. I'll send you a letter.
I just have to prove it to some naysayers here in Ottawa.
No, you know what? There's always going to be naysayers. There's always, no
Say
matter
no way.
what.
I just
And
wish it wasn't from my peers, I wish it was from
uh,
like
but
degenerates on the internet.
listen, you know that the comedy community, for as supportive as it is, because we have met so many amazing people doing this so far,
Mhm.
that there are so many that are so supportive and so loving and so caring and so generous with their time and their humor and everything. There's always going to be the ones that are not. And we've run into them. We've
Yeah.
seen them doing their comedy and whatever. And it's like, when is that going to end? When are we all not going to be on the same page? But you know what? It's those people that push us to go further,
Oh, for sure.
right?
Yeah.
And to work harder and to prove our point even more. And we need them, like good twin, evil twin. And I was going to ask you about that. Is your
Yeah.
sister the good twin and you're the evil twin, or is
So
it vice versa?
funny thing about that, actually, when we were babies, I was a preemie,
Okay.
because she ate all my food in the womb.
Nice.
And apparently I was the quiet one. I was very, shy. And Jolene was like, attention, me.
Yeah.
And when we grew up, it shifted. And then I was the
Interesting.
get out, like, and then she became the recluse. So it's like we kind of like switch back and forth.
Back and
But
forth.
right now I'm the loud, I'm the bad twin because I
Yeah.
smoke and I drink.
Ah,
And I cuss and I say some stuff on stage. And, hey, but I'm the cool auntie. I'm going to be bringing them
yes.
to, Disney World, Disneyland, and just traveling and giving them that my nephews and nieces and cousins and
Yeah.
all them something that we never had as children because we never
Yes.
got to go camping. We never went to a cottage. We never even been in a canoe. You know what I'm saying? We grew
Yeah.
up so downtrodden, living in the ghettos here in
Ah,
Ottawa. We never had that, and I right now my biggest mission, other than getting Gotland to tour Turtle Island annually, is I want to make sure I have enough money that I can give my twin sister a home and a new car. I want to make sure
ah,
that my nephew and my twin sister can have something that was so far out of reach because we're
yeah.
millennials, right? We're never
Hmm.
ever going to be able to buy a home, but maybe I can do that with
No.
comedy. Maybe I can do that for her.
Yeah.
So that's my one big selfless act. So hopefully I can, I don't want to pay my way into heaven, but
Yeah. It's like, okay, God, how much more do I have to do
exactly.
to kind of make up?
I
Ah,
have a very spiritual aspect, but I don't really believe
yes.
in colonialism's religion.
Oh, me too. Me
Yes,
too.
there you go.
100%.
And well, I was going to say something else on that regard. My my twin sister too. She wanted to be my agent or like
Mm,
my not agent, sorry.
Booker.
My no, what do you call it? My assistant. And I was
Oh.
like, nope, no family with comedy. No, you can't be my assistant. You read up what happened with Dane Cook. This is not happening.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not that I don't trust you. I just can't have that liability. I just can't
Yep.
do
Yep.
that. Yes,
No,
I need
no.
somebody who's unbiased that I can sue if they screw me over without the
Hmm.
guilt.
Well, speaking of family, let's just switch gears here.
Sure.
You were on Family Feud. How much fun was that?
Ole, that was amazing, actually. I loved being on Family Feud. We won the first game and we lost the
Woohoo.
second game, but we didn't win the
Hmm.
fast money on the first game. My family and I never got, like I said before, we never got to do vacations. So it was like
Yeah.
a vacation for a family we never had
Oh,
to
cool.
have.
Yeah.
So me and my cousins, who we were very close with, got to travel to Toronto together,
Yeah.
and I got to dress them because I'm so dapper that I bought their clothes and I made sure that they all looked very like
Nice.
sharp and nice and gave them some TV ready, styles, and we all practiced together. And my twin sister and my cousins, they love that show. They watch it all the time.
Oh
Oh,
my
And even though
gosh.
I don't personally, I watch
yeah.
snippets on TikTok. They love it so much that it was one of their dreams to be on that
Oh,
show. So I helped as much as I'm accomplishing my dreams. I want to help
yeah.
accomplish my
That's so
family dreams
nice.
as well. So
Yeah.
it was a dream come true, and I learned something about Family Feud that I didn't know before. It's not about being correct. It's about what any dumb Canadian thinks of the answer. I'm sorry, it's like
Yep.
dumb Canadian. I'm sorry.
No.
I was like, oh, that's why he says we surveyed 100 Canadians. That's why he says that
Yes.
every single question, because
Yep.
it's not about being correct. It's about what Canada thinks is the correct
Thanks.
answer, regardless if it's right and wrong. And if I could go back in time, I would definitely go in there with a different mindset because
Uh,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
was like, I need to be correct in my answer. I need to
yeah.
be educated. I need to know things. And as much as I was correct in some things, it wasn't the answer. I was like, oh, that's what they do to you.
Yep.
What was one of the stupidest ones? Do you remember?
It wasn't ours. It wasn't our question. But we were in the green room when this happened. Um, So another comedian, Will Flynn, he went with his family, and we were in the green room watching it live. Well, Will Flynn has family there, and he had his son, and there was another family on the other side, and they're boom, sudden death. So they have to easiest question in the world.
Yeah.
They have to hit the buzzer. So the son comes up, and the mom on the other side. They sit there, and then Jerry D. He's like, we survey Canadians. What is a card game you would normally place money on? The kid hits it, the young boy, Will's son. He says, Magic the Gathering.
Oh, stop.
Oh, everybody in the green room was like, no. What? You could hear it. It was like, it was just a rapid no. And Jerry D's just like, he looks at the other woman, and he asks, and she's like, poker.
Yeah.
And then they get it. And all I could think was, that guy's a comedian, like his father's a comedian.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't believe you should hit your children.
But
that
listen,
kid,
not in public.
not in
public.
That kid did that for his friends. I play Magic the Gathering. I have EDH decks. I play, and I know that he did that for his friends on Discord. Okay, he did not do that for his family. I'm like, you lost your family money because you wanted to look cool for your. I'm like, I love cringe, so pardon me.
Yeah.
And then I asked Flynn, I'm like, hey, can I take that to the stage? Have you made a joke about it yet?
Yeah.
He's like, no. I'm like, may I? He's like, yes. And I'm like, now I'm going to be adding that. And I have to remember that I have to add that to my script because we've been telling that joke, but I haven't been saying it on stage. Oh goodness.
That's
Thank you
great.
guys so much. You're going to hear this on TV, and you're going to be like, hey, I was there with you.
Hey, we were there when she wrote it. Yay.
Yeah.
We seem to be giving away lots of ideas on this show.
I know, right?
I just have to write Magic the Gathering, and I know exactly where I'm going with that. Oh yeah, and I love Family Feud. It was great, and it was amazing to work with CBC. And I worked with them again. I can't tell you what the show is called. However, it will be featured this summer, and the host is Lily Singh. So it's going to be it's another trivia game show that Canada is creating. So
that's on CBC, not CTV.
CBC.
Okay.
Do you have it? Do you have an in for contestants?
I'm one of them.
Oh, look at you. I would love to be on it. Laura is pretty smart.
Oh yeah, they just they're editing right now, but it's going to be out this July.
Nice.
That's awesome. We'll definitely keep an eye out for you.
Yeah, if you're on my social media, I'll probably pop it up there too, because
cool.
I realize how much weight I've lost. I'm on the Kardashian diet, by the way. And I'm like, I love seeing myself bigger on TV than off, because I'm all like, man, when they see me in real life, what a glow up.
Yeah.
That's what I say too about my ex-husband. He has some pornographic pictures of me when I was 20. I'm all like, if they ever get leaked, yes, that's what it still looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing's changed.
That's what it looks like. Yep, that's it. Yeah.
I would have had naked photos, but it was really hard chiseling them into the stone when I was a kid. Right, Laura? Right.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, Julie.
Polaroids. There they are. Yeah, so sad.
That's so that was so Egyptian. Like, come on.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Boobs out.
Oh my God.
Oh goodness. It's fun chatting with comics too, as much as it's about the show. It's also about the hang after. So I love it's like we're just hanging. I don't even think I'm on a podcast right now.
No, that's fine.
Great. That's the way we want it to be. We're so just talk about whatever. We want people to see who you are.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And fall in love with you the way that we have, and maybe hit you up on a show.
Please.
The next time you're in Toronto.
Oh yeah.
Definitely DM us.
I'm in Toronto from June 17th to the 23rd, actually. I'm looking at my calendar. I have a wedding and a comedy show, 2 comedy shows and a wedding to go to. So,
perfect.
Wow.
Yes, if you have anything on the 19th and the 20th, I would love to jump on.
Wow.
Awesome.
I'll have to check that out for sure. That was gonna it made me think of something else too. Oh, because this is like a big month right now, June. Like,
Yes.
Mhm.
and we hope to put this on this month because we're a little behind on posting, but um two big things are happening this month, and that is well,
National Indigenous History Month and Pride Month.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you do anything to celebrate or anything specific or
What I do is I just live my unapologetic, authentic self.
Good for you.
So
Good.
that's
Good
what
for
I do
you.
because every day of the year I am a two-spirited Black and Indigenous
Awesome.
woman. So
Yeah.
it's that's who I am all the time. And oh, sorry, I gotta stop looking at that. I have another computer over there, and I'm just going bing, 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 bing.
Oh,
Maybe they're trying to hire me because it's National
oh,
Indigenous History
might be,
Pride Month.
might be.
Ah,
Listen, use every advantage. Use every single advantage, my
they,
friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
there's this
So
there's this thing now that people I don't know what it's called. Maybe you guys know what it's called. It's when people just put money into being supportive during Pride Month instead of all
Mm,
year round.
yeah,
It's like a
yeah,
pride tax or something
yeah,
like.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and we have to be very cautious about that because what happened with Dylan Mulvaney and
Oh
Bud
my
Light.
gosh.
Yes, they're all like, "Oh, this will give us attention, whether it's good or bad." And I'm like, "Hole, it could have been anything. Why Bud
Yeah,
Light? Why Bud
yeah,
Light? Why not a mascara or something like
yeah,
that? Like
yeah,
doing makeup tutorials? Why not like
yeah.
know your freaking lane? Know
Exactly,
your people."
exactly.
And
But
I
you
was,
know what? That put Dylan's name out in front
oh,
of everyone, like
yeah,
people that, because I knew of Dylan way before that. I am in the cosmetics industry,
yeah,
and I'm very proud of the company that I work for because
mhm,
we 100% support LGBTQ. We've done like groundbreaking work with raising funds for AIDS and, everything. So it blew me away when that all came up because like people that are to me old school
yeah,
were like, oh, did you hear about that Dylan Mulvaney? And I'm like, yeah, like 2 years ago
yeah,
on TikTok,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's like, and y'all are just becoming aware of it. And so in a way it was good because it
yeah.
did bring a lot of conversation, but in a way it was bad because a lot of the conversation was not good,
Yeah, Kid Rock
unfortunately.
did not help with that. But
No.
Dylan, she was actually on Wheel of Fortune. Oh, what? Not Wheel of
Oh,
Fortune. Sorry. Which the one with the wheel that's horizontal, not vertical?
The Price is Right.
Oh, Price is Right. Yes,
oh,
Dylan was on
okay.
Price
Oh,
is Right.
I missed her
Uh,
on that.
yeah, it was way back when not the original host, but the comedian who was
Drew
on.
Carey?
Yeah, Drew
No.
Carey. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so yeah, they're still like she's still like a hyper spit fuck. That's why I call that
Right.
energy. You're just so hyper.
Yeah.
I love that energy, but I
Yeah.
try to emulate that energy on stage. There's a comedian who unfortunately has passed. Not sure if you know about him, but Andrew Albert. His
Not
member Andrew Albert,
offhand.
a big
Oh,
Canadian comedian, traveled all across Canada, and he had fire on stage. He was
awesome.
so captivating. You were on the
Yeah.
edge of your seat. It was just like boom, 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 and I'm like, how can I go from there to here? It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
help me out. So sometimes I try to bring that, like as much as new comedians emulate a comedian they liked, so to help them go. And I'm like, how can I get that energy? Where because I do have a very eccentric energy when I'm on
Yeah.
stage.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm more Stephen Wright.
Right? Everyone, like, there's so many comedians here in Ottawa that are deadpan comedians.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of the problems of being a deadpan comedian is that you lack the energy to host properly, depending.
Mm, mhm.
You have to be such a good comedian that you can be deadpan and be a host, because hosts need to be fire. They need to be
Oh
electric. They
yeah.
need to get the crowd warmed up. They
Yeah.
have to figure out what's going on. So I'm trying to host as much as I possibly can. I don't just host my shows. I do EMC. I host galas. I host comedy, and because I love to create memories. I love to create
Yeah.
moments, and that's what we're doing with comedy. We're creating a moment.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
great. Very true.
It does make a
Very,
difference, huge difference.
yeah.
Mhm.
So speaking of creating moments, you were at the Winnipeg Comedy Festival. How was that experience for you?
I was? Oh my
Weren't
goodness.
you?
Oh
Yes,
my
you
goodness.
were.
Oh, it's so surreal. No, yes, of course. Yes, I went. Got land. Was invited to go to the Winnipeg Comedy Festival. I'm so happy we got to perform at the Gaspar Theater. And it was a 3 p.m. show, but we managed to pack the house.
Oh, wow.
I was
Cool.
hosting. I
Congrats.
hosted that show, and it was amazing because as much as Gotland is in its infancy, we
Mhm. Oh no, Janelle's freezing.
I know.
Oh,
But she's sweating and freezing at the
I
same
know.
time.
Hopefully she'll come back to us.
I know.
can you hear me? Can you see me?
Oh,
I
now
can
we
see you now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just froze.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm back.
You're
back.
back.
Internet connection unstable.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
that's like me. Every morning when I wake up, Julie is unstable.
Here, just 1 second. Just have to close everything on my other computer too. Maybe that's
Sometimes
yes,
that, yeah, because Zoom takes a lot of juice.
Mhm.
it does. Am I good now? Am I
You
back
are.
Yeah,
to?
you're great.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So we were hosting. So I was hosting Gotland Comedy. We had
Yeah.
amazing comedians. We had Don Kelly. We had Garrett Barrett. We had Savannah Erzmas. We had Clayton Stewart. We had Nelson Mayer and Keith Bubbas. And I just had such a great team of Indigenous comedians to come. A lot of comedians would have loved to come to Gotland, but we only could have about 7. So
Oh,
Yeah.
I wish I could have brought every single one.
yeah.
Savannah, she's from BC, right?
Yes. Yeah, and so
Yeah.
is Bubba's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
They the production, the staff, the managers all said, "Wow, this is you guys are so professional. You're on point. We all did our time. We came and left like a perfect comedy." I was like, "Mwah." And then
Excellent.
I go up to Dean at the after party. I'm like, "Hey, Dean, how are you doing?" Da, da, da. And we're just talking. I'm like, "Hey, can I tote my own horn for a second?" He's all like, "Ah, what's new?" And I was like, "Oh, your staff really gave us sung our praises. They said we were very professional and everything went
Oh,
really well." He's like, "Yeah, I heard the same." I was like, "Good, good. That's amazing. I'm just happy that we had a good show." And that's one thing I want to showcase with Gotland, that we are a professional comedy show,
Yeah.
and we are an official business as well. So
nice.
it's not something that's like under the table. No, 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 no.
Yeah,
I pay my taxes. I might be Indigenous, but
Yeah.
I pay my
good.
taxes.
Did
That's the
did
thing I get a lot of flack here about.
and they recorded it for you, right?
No, this wasn't a recorded one.
Oh, really?
No, it was just a regular show. Hopefully, in the future, we will be able to record a Gotland TV spot with the Winnipeg Comedy
That would
Festival.
be awesome.
That would
However,
be great.
we are not there yet, even though there's a many professional Indigenous comedians across Canada who should. And if it's
Mhm.
not Gotland,
Mhm.
it could be another Indigenous comedy show. I am not a monolith. This is not the only Indigenous
Nice.
comedy show out there.
Yeah.
You have the Deadly Aunties tour. You have
Yeah.
Bubba's. Bubba's
Oops.
has his own Indigenous comedy show.
Mhm.
You have in the States, NSO Entertainment does the Native American Comedy Jam. So there's so many other Indigenous comedy shows springing up. I just hope that they come to the forefront of the Canadian entertainment industry or Turtle Island's
Absolutely.
entertainment industry. It's not
Yeah.
just about me. I just want everyone to succeed. So I'm not competitive. I want everyone to win.
Yeah. And
That's
there's enough room
fantastic.
for everyone. So that's such a great
100%.
attitude,
Yeah,
right?
I don't adhere to this famine mentality that there's only
Mm,
enough stage time, because that's some
No.
colonial thinking, okay?
yeah.
Oh my
That's some
God,
old, yeah,
yes.
that's some old white guy in the back with like, well, if we give her time, I'm gonna lose my
Oh,
time. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, give me a break. There's
There's
Yeah.
always another show,
there are plenty venues around for everybody.
right? That's how I think, and I'm
Yeah.
always like trying to move up and help to hold out my hand and bring as many people with me as I
With you.
can, because
Of
Oh,
course.
as
Of
much as
course.
I'm fast tracking my comedy career, some people who have been doing it 10 years who don't even have 10% of the spunk I have here, I'm
mhm.
like, here's some spunk here. You need a little, you need, some people just don't know how to work social media or
Yeah.
how to promote themselves, or they're trying to get over the shame of
Mhm.
promoting themselves.
Mhm.
Because in Ottawa, I've noticed with the Ottawa comedy community, there is a shame, and they all roast and make fun of each other for even
Really?
trying to put themselves out there. And it, even though it's a joke, coming out of the very jealous and bitter people, it seeps into these young comics' head that, oh, if I put myself out there, these guys are going to shun me. And I'm like, wow, they're stunting the growth of aspiring comedians
But
with
they,
that mentality, that famine mentality of just all like, oh, if you get out there, like, oh, who do you think you are? You're
yeah,
not ready. You're
yeah,
not. I'm like, was Eddie Murphy ready when he was 21, like a year
yeah,
into comedy doing his special with Delirious? No,
yeah.
he was not. But he took a chance. And I
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
that I like with Gotland comedy, I take chances on a lot of people, a lot of Indigenous comedians, because with even Winnipeg Comedy Festival, they took a chance on me, and I delivered
Hmm.
because I wanted to be respectful of the craft. And
Yeah.
that's another thing that the comedy scene here thought of me, that I didn't respect the craft because I was
Yeah.
just trying to fast track and I wasn't doing my due, get like perform, doing.
You know what? It's always the ones that are just bitter
Mm,
that do that. And
yeah,
they are not succeeding in their careers, so they want to hold everybody back. And
right.
that's going to continue to hold them back.
The crabs in the bucket.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. And
100%.
and I'm not going to let them do that. I'm too I'm too spirited. So I have a masculine energy, masculine
Yeah.
spirit, and they think they're talking to a woman, but I'm just like, honey, who, I'm reading right through you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're trying to appeal to my feminine side, trying to, oh, like
Oh,
they're always trying to like talk to me like I'm some dumb bimbo that they're going to
yeah.
sleep with like in an hour. I'm
Yeah.
like, you treat
Yeah.
me, I'm a comedian first and a piece of ass second. You treat me with respect. And
Good
as
for
much as
you.
they test me, like men do, they test each
Yeah,
other all the
for
time.
sure.
They'll test me, and I'm like, I don't have it, and I speak my mind, and I'm very outspoken, and that makes them feel uncomfortable. And then I
Yes.
try to break that tension as a comedian,
Good for
but
you.
then I just
Yeah.
become cringy because they still don't.
They can't handle it.
Even though I can make an audience laugh, and I can murder and I can kill. I have told. I went to Toronto. I just came back, and they're like, "Oh, you're a comedian." I'm like, "Yes, but in Ottawa, I'm an open micer, and outside of Ottawa, I'm a touring comedian." Because they will never see me as a comedian here in Ottawa. They will always see me as that try hard open micer who is
Really?
being a con artist, getting her getting her, what is it? They said I'm really good at marketing myself. That's all I have. I have a niche, and I'm capitalizing on it. It's not that they're never in the room when I murder. They're never in the room when I'm killing.
But
But
these people stay in Ottawa, right?
yeah, they don't
Yeah.
travel, they don't
That's
tour,
right.
they
That's
have
right. That's
Yeah.
no
right. That's right.
notoriety whatsoever,
Wow.
but they will, like, I'm like, if you even did 10% of the things that I do that are not as shameful as they say, they would be where I am right now. But they
Yeah.
are lazy, they
Yeah.
are gatekeeping themselves.
Yeah.
Like, who
Yeah.
gatekeeps your, like, why would you do that? I'm a big hustler. I hustle as much as, like, I was saying, like, I hustle when I do my laundry. I'm self-hustling. I'm making sure I got my shit in order so I can
Yeah.
take on the world. And
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I do with comedy. I make sure that I have all my pieces in play.
Yeah.
And it is much as a game as it is a business, as it is comedy, because that's what comedy is. It's a business to make people laugh. And
Yeah.
I have figured out their recipe, and don't they
Good.
hate me for it? I am
Hmm.
winning at a game that was designed for them, and
Yes.
they hate it. It was designed for a white man, and they're like, how is she getting up at it? And they also, it kind of justifies their that racist ideology that, oh, she's just getting it because she's indigenous,
Oh, yeah.
and which sucks. And I'm like, I'm not going to be batting away opportunities for your sake. Are you
Yep.
insane?
Yep.
If something
Hmm.
comes my way, I'm taking it, baby. Like,
Yeah.
because
But that's what they want. That's their ultimate plan, is to keep you down.
yeah,
And so that we're all at the same level. And it's like the people who work the hardest, that push themselves, that go outside of their box, that try new things, that help others, all of those things that you were doing. We've seen people that do that through this podcast that are going up and up and up and up.
It's
and you're gonna
camaraderie.
and you're gonna be
Yeah.
there too, and we're gonna be
And-
like, oh my god, do you remember when we had Janelle on the show and she was like just this little Ottawa open micer? No, I'm just joking. We're gonna be,
Right?
look at her now, look at
Oh,
her Netflix
I'll have
special, look at
I'll
her
have to
blah
get
blah
the
blah.
Netflix special just so they call me a middle.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
do it. Um, you do see the difference though when you come to Toronto, though, don't you?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than the clicks, I love the energy of Toronto.
Mhm.
The audiences are better. The
Mhm.
audiences 100% are better because in Ottawa, everyone took a module that day. Why my jokes aren't funny, so they have a stick up their ass. And but in Toronto, they are more open to laugh and open to these ideals because it's more multicultural in
Yes.
Toronto than it is in Ottawa. Ottawa is like they say they're the most multi. I'm like, no, they're not. Every
Mm-mm.
single white person lives 20 minutes outside of the city, almost every single one. And then it's
Yeah.
just like,
The only multicultural going on in Ottawa is French and English.
right?
Right.
100%.
Pretty much. I
You
mean,
know, PCs, like not the party, but being the politically correct kills comedy. And it's sad because we've seen a huge change in comedy
Mhm.
because everybody's offended by everything. And it's like, people, like, calm down. Like, okay,
Right?
yes, there is still stuff that is offensive that should not be said, even under the guise of comedy. But there's a lot of stuff that it's like, okay, like, just calm down. It wasn't that bad. Like, just
Oh,
have a giggle, you know,
whatever
like,
happened to sticks and stones?
yeah, right.
Whatever happened to that?
Well,
well, the good news is there's that other game, We Don't Stop for Nobody, and you've got that. So
Yes, 100%. I'm tenacious.
keep that up.
Yes, and as much as I get the flack, a part of me, it humbles me because we just had a roast. We have an annual roast here in Ottawa, and I got eaten alive in the best way. I'm a sadomasochist. I love that shit. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
tell me about
yeah,
myself.
yeah.
They said this one joke, amazing comedian, a couple years in, but she's freaking climbing herself. Her name's Melanie Page, and she had this beautiful roast joke about me. She's like, oh, Janelle looks really good up there on stage, but the only reason she's not wearing a headdress is because she couldn't pat herself on the back.
Ooh, nice, nice.
I
Oh
laughed
my
so
goodness.
hard. I was like, what? It's
that's
like,
hilarious.
You need to put that in your act. You need to bring,
I'll
I
have to
don't know
ask her.
how,
I'll have
yeah,
to
and
ask
then
her.
just put it on and go, well, I'm up here and I'm gonna have to take this off because I can't pat myself on the back or
Yeah, well,
something.
I am the only Indigenous comedian who scalped themselves on stage.
Yes.
I used to wear a wig, and I just like took it off once, and I mentioned that, and they're like, "What?" So I was like,
What?
it's comedy, baby.
Yeah,
I'm just joking,
yeah.
you know. But
That's great.
it's tackling those tough topics. They're like, "Oh
Yeah.
no, scalping. Oh yeah, that existed. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, right.
we don't forget about those things,
No,
or we will repeat them." But
exactly.
yeah,
Well, you might be self-deprecating, but you definitely can laugh at yourself too, and
100%.
that's half of it. I mean, and laugh at all the other people who poo-poo you. So
I don't take myself too seriously,
Yeah.
no,
other than when it comes to dotting my I's and crossing my T's when I am doing all the back end,
Mm,
making those
yeah.
invoices and emails and
yeah,
whatever have you. But when it comes to my comedy, I don't take myself too seriously. But I do take my
good for
business
you.
very, very seriously.
Yeah. So kind of to wrap up, where do you see yourself going? What's your ultimate dream, Janelle? Where tell us about it.
I want to be performing in every single theater comedy club with Gotland every year in a touring yearly annual Gotland Indigenous comedy show, expressing solidarity through humor with our people and allies, just making sure that people know that we're still here and we're not
Mhm.
going away. And
Awesome.
it's this is you are on native land, and we're gonna make you laugh about it. So
That's great.
and when it comes to Janelle Niles, though, I just hope that I can keep comedy alive and fresh, and being able to almost have that pathway to not saying not be PC, but just allowing people to speak their minds freely. Because if I can't say everything I want on stage, then no one can. And I want to make sure that we all have a voice, and regardless of who you are, and we're all adults, and we're all can take what's coming at us. It's a long way to get here, but I just want to make sure that comedy never dies. And
Excellent.
that's it.
Well, you're doing a great job, and you are very unforgettable.
Oh,
And hopefully this exposure helps a little bit, and we will obviously continue to follow your journey.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you live.
oh, thank you.
Yes,
It'll be
yes.
fantastic.
Yes, and I'm in town on I'm free the 19th and 20th of June. So if you guys
Awesome.
are around, let me know. And Walalin, Chimagwich, and I've been Janelle Niles, and have a good night.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
I see Janelle having her own show. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe when I'm 45.
Oh.
Maybe in 9 years.
9 years. Okay.
That's
That's
great.
great.
Thank you so much, Janelle.
Thank
You're
you, Janelle.
fantastic.